What if the most revealing map of a person's emotional history isn't found in their words, but in the silent architecture of their energy? You can't always see the number of connections someone has cycled through, but if you know how to listen, you can feel the echo of them, a subtle resonance in how they give affection, how they receive intimacy, how they conceptualize loyalty. This isn't about judgment, it's about pattern recognition. It's about understanding the profound psychological phenomenon of emotional depletion. When an individual moves through a series of transient, high-intensity connections, a fundamental rewiring begins to occur. The nervous system, designed for deep bonding, adapts to a reality of constant turnover. It learns to withhold, to protect, to engage superficially. You see this first in the domain of emotional presence. A certain numbness pervades their interactions. They can laugh, they can flirt, they can articulate all the right words. But there's a disconnect between the performance and the person. It feels as if you're speaking to a highly sophisticated interface, not the core system itself. This is the psyche's defense mechanism. After repeatedly experiencing the neurochemical crash of severed attachments, it builds fortifications to prevent future invasion. The heart no longer opens with vulnerability. It administers access through predefined protocols. They don't fall in love, they replicate patterns. They don't bond, they entertain. The butterflies of genuine connection are replaced by the familiar adrenaline of a new game. And what many mistake for strength or captivating mystery is, in reality, the emotional scar tissue of overexposure. This protective carapace extends profoundly into their relationship with intimacy itself. Physical closeness, once a language of sacred connection, becomes desensitized through repetition. It transforms into something casual, transactional, almost mechanical. There's no longer a sense of weight or significance behind the act. It becomes another form of social interaction, stripped of its emotional payload. They may frame this as confidence, declaring, "I know what I want," or "I'm comfortable with my body." And while there may be truth in that, the underlying current is often one of disassociation. The body remembers touch, but the soul forgets connection. The mind catalogs experiences, but the spirit fails to find meaning within them. When you are with such a person, you may feel you are sharing a profound moment, but you are often just the latest participant in a well-rehearsed play. This leads inextricably to the third pillar, a fractured relationship with loyalty. The individual hasn't merely been unlucky, they have been conditioned for impermanence. Each time they form a bond and walk away, their neural pathways reinforce a dangerous lesson. Attachment is fleeting. An investment leads to loss. Consequently, they become addicted to the euphoric rush of newness, the thrill of the chase, the spark of a novel dynamic. However, when that initial spark inevitably fades into the steady glow required for a lasting partnership, they interpret the calm as boredom, the stability as stagnation. Commitment begins to feel like a cage because their psychological framework is built for exits, not foundations. They value the idea of freedom, but what they are truly fleeing is the vulnerability that real, rooted intimacy demands. Further complicating this dynamic is a developed, almost clinical skill in navigating interpersonal dynamics. Through sheer repetition, they become master cartographers of the early stages of romance. They have studied behavior, body language, and emotional triggers across countless scenarios. So, when you meet them, their actions feel uncannily perfect. They know precisely what to say to draw you in, when to pull away to create longing, when how to mirror your desires to make you feel profoundly understood. At first, this feels like a rare, intuitive connection, as if they are your perfect psychological match. But gradually, you may sense that you are not being seen as a unique individual, but rather processed as a set of data points that fit a familiar pattern. You are not building a new story together. You are inadvertently cast in the latest iteration of their old one. This is often not conscious manipulation, but a learned, automated survival strategy, a way to maintain control and emotional safety in a landscape they perceive as inherently unstable. This need for control is frequently fueled by a deeper, more insidious dependency, an addiction to external validation. The steady drip of male attention has become their primary emotional currency. Without the constant reinforcement of likes, compliments, and desiring glances, they feel a terrifying sense of invisibility. Their sense of self-worth becomes externally indexed, leading them to maintain a roster of orbiting admirers, post strategically seductive content, and keep past flames smoldering on standby. When you, seeking a genuine partnership, offer them peace and consistent devotion, they may reject it as unexciting. Your refusal to engage in chaotic games is misinterpreted as a lack of interest, because their baseline for interest has been calibrated by drama and pursuit. This entire ecosystem is sustained and normalized by their social environment. You can tell everything about a person's trajectory by examining their tribe. If their closest friends glorify a lifestyle of endless options, hot girl summers, and treating partners as disposable accessories, then they are living in an echo chamber that systematically reframes emotional unavailability as empowerment. Within this chamber, promiscuity is a badge of honor, detachment is strength, and long-term investment is foolish. They will encourage each other to keep options open and to never settle, which, in practice, means never fully committing. When you date someone in this state, you are not just dating an individual. You are contending with an entire council that reinforces the very walls you are trying to gently dismantle. This social reinforcement often hardens into a pervasive emotional residue, a layer of bitterness or arrogant cynicism that coats their worldview. Having been disappointed, hurt, or let down multiple times, they armor themselves with the belief that all people are the same. This isn't genuine hatred. It is the exhaustion of a heart that has given too much to too many and now finds cynicism to be a safer default than hope. They may project an image of the unbothered, untouchable queen, but beneath that pride lies a profound weariness, a belief that love is ultimately either a form of manipulation or a form of weakness. The most telling sign of this cycle is what I term the perpetual healing loop. Every few months, there is a new announcement of a healing era, a new lesson learned, a new quote about self-love posted, a declaration of focusing on me. But observe closely, and you will see it is not true healing. It is a reset. It is an emotional detox period designed only to create enough stability to enter the next transient connection. There is always another person waiting in the wings, a texting situation, a work buddy, a complicated friend. They are not healing. They are avoiding the terrifying silence of stillness. Because stillness would force a confrontation with the hollowed-out self they have created by giving pieces of their soul to people who were never meant to hold them. They don't love themselves. They distract themselves with the affection of others. And when a person loses their core self in this way, they cease to be capable of building love. Instead, they collect experiences, using the thrill of the new to fill an existential emptiness. The painful truth is this: you cannot build a forever with someone who is psychologically wired for temporary. You will pour your entire soul into a vessel that has no bottom. Not because they are a bad person, but because they are an exhausted, depleted person. Your loyalty will not fix them. It will merely become another data point in their narrative that loyalty is ultimately unfulfilling. So do not hate them. See them with clarity. Recognize the pattern of depletion for what it is, a defense mechanism born of a fractured modern dating landscape. Your mission is not to be their savior. Your mission is to protect your peace, to guard your energy, and to have the profound self-respect to walk away from a dynamic that can only offer you a supporting role in their repeating story of emotional exhaustion.